somebody's singing voice. It can't be worse than mine, trust me. So let's try one of those things where what I'm going to do is I'm going to sing a little segment, and then I'm going to get you guys to sing the same thing back. Just as best as you can. It does not matter with this particular song. It does not matter whatsoever. Just whatever feels naturally to you. Let's try it. That's going to be our tempo. Beautiful. Let's try that again. Perfect, that's awesome, guys. Really well done. So, let's try some screaming sort of things. Sweet. I wouldn't dare to scream at something. Alright. I love it. It's good. Good shit. Oh yeah, good stuff. So, you remember when we heard Jago before? Ginger might come on my phone as well. So when we heard Jago before, you might have heard in the background this kind of, big scream going really low, quiet, and then very quickly up to high, like we're shouting, right? So like a one of those sort of things. Let's try that together with my hands moving up and down. Let's try that, okay? So let's give it a go. This is awesome, man. It's great. Let's try that again. Perfect, knock something over out there. There's been the cleaning man coming past, he's going, whoa! Alright, one more time, let's go. Perfect. Now let's try a more punchy. Shoo! Shoo! Fucking unbelievable, man. Alright, let's try some of this. Shoo! 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 Perfect. Ha! Ha! Whoa! 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 Awesome. One more. Ultra combo! Ultra combo! Oh, man. Combo! Let's do it. Combo breaker! Combo breaker! Shit, I'm not recording. Alright, suggestion time. Who wants something recorded? Can be anything at all. We have a whole crowd of 200 people here. Who wants something said? No swear words.
This is Sparta!
This is Sparta!
This is Sparta!
Awesome, guys. Killer Instinct is an awesome project. We're coming out on Xbox One later in the year, November. It's an awesome game, it's an awesome thing to be part of, and you have made it awesome with today. Thank you very much. So to say a very special thanks to you all. We're going to open up some questions. You can ask anything you want about the game. There's certain things I can't talk about with legal issues, but I'm going to try and answer as many questions as I can. For the 2 best questions, we have a limited edition Killer Instinct t-shirt.
Oh.
Not this one. I've been sweating it up here.
Yeah.
My main man Dylan here from Double Helix has got 2 special t-shirts. These are limited edition ones with the new logo but done in the old style of Killer Instinct 1, and we have some of Killer Instinct 2 or Killer Instinct Gold as well. 2 best questions get a free shirt. We have men's and women's. My man up there's got a microphone. He's going to go around. Anybody can ask a question. We've got, I don't know how long, about 15, 20 minutes. So we've got plenty of questions. Yeah, let's go. Who's close to you? Yeah, dude in a blue shirt there.
So, you've got the whole, with the older characters, developing their music. How'd you go about with new characters? Because I'm assuming there are some in this latest game. How'd you go about, like, their theme, their sort of style?
Ah, man. Microsoft has informed me that I in no way, shape or form am allowed to talk about things that have not been announced yet. However, not that I can. So, okay, well, let's imagine. Let me turn it on to you. You've been given this job. You're a music guy. You've wanted this job all your life. How would you approach a new character in the Killer Instinct world? How would you do it? I'm curious. I don't freaking know. So
Regarding musical?
Yeah, how would you approach it?
Well, I'd start with their backstory, where they're from, their past, what their goals are,
Yeah.
and then kind of focus on that.
That's exactly the direction. Every character in this game needs to be what we're talking about, like realistic or legitimate, meaning that their story needs to be believable. You can get away with kind of lax story in the 90s with things. It was like, oh, I don't know, there's a robot and there's a lizard. But now players really want reasons behind why they are the way they are. So you take that exact approach that you just mentioned. You look into the character, their backstory, their directions, their motivations. Awesome question. Next one, yeah, my main man MK dude down here.
How's it going? It's sort of similar to his, but I'm wondering, when you're doing the music for a stage, an environmental background, do they give you like concept art to look at, or do they tell you what the stage is about, or do they give you video footage? What sort of source material do they give you to then make your reimagining of the music?
It's all of the above. Absolutely, it's all of the above. I've been on the project for, well, since November last year, so there's lots of videos. I travelled to Double Helix earlier this year. The character that we've just announced, Thunder, I don't know if you guys have seen the awesome reveal trailer. So for Thunder, the importance of Thunder was to make it culturally respectable. Chief Thunder, the original Chief Thunder, was very, very disrespectful to Native American culture. So with Thunder, the goal is to bring him, into the future and make it culturally respectable. So I went to Double Helix, and then I took a trip down to Tucson and did like a horse ride for 4 days through the canyons and things. And then I went to Yosemite for 4 days, and we hiked up all through the mountains and things there, and collected rocks and listened to trees and all of these crazy things that you do to try and tap into what that really was. So, you get all sorts of inspiration, but you have to kind of find those things yourself as well. But yeah, good question, man. Yeah, let's go. Yeah, let's try some over this side. What we got over here? Yeah, dude here in the beanie. Just put your hand up, man, or you just swiping the fly up. Yep.
I just wanted to know, like, how much of the music do you do, like, in the box, and how much of it is recorded?
Yeah, good question. Absolutely. So, I'm adamant about recording. Absolutely adamant about recording. As well as Killer Instinct, I'm doing the next Wolfenstein for Bethesda as well, and that's all recorded. It's all recorded, so it's all set in the 60s, so it's also, guitar. It's basically an ode to guitar. Wolfenstein's an ode to guitar. I don't know if you're a Wolfenstein fan, or do you know about that one?
No.
It's awesome, man.
Really.
60s, Jimi Hendrix, I'm working with Meshuggah, like, it's awesome. So as much recording as possible. I was just saying earlier before, the whole goal is to try and make it sound awesome before it even hits the microphone, yeah? And then when it hits the microphone, it runs through a sophisticated chain of preamps and EQ and compressor and things. That needs to be all awesome before it hits the box. I used to come from a background that was very focused in the box and make it sound good inside the box. So with this project, there's a lot of recording. Lots of instruments, stacks of instruments. All Saberwolf was recorded in Manchester. String players and things like that.
Well, I was just wondering, like, how do you get so much depth from those drums? Like, what?
Oh man, quick drum rundown. It's all about the transients.
Yeah.
It's all about that initial punch, that little split-second thing. The rest of the audience is like, what the frick are these guys talking about? So it's that initial transient. So you can get some awesome tools that accentuate that transient. The ones I love are from Waves, the Trans Mod X and those ones. Yeah, I know. There's transient shapers and things you can get as well. But you can also use a compressor. A compressor with a slightly slower attack lets a bit more of the transient through, but then squashes the end of it. And that's really it. That and then layering. Layer on top. Well, most of those drums in Jago are just me stomping on the wooden house. Like, it's nothing amazing when it begins with. But with processing with the right compression and things, yeah, it's nothing amazing, yeah. Hit me up, dude. Like, there's my email there. That reaches me. That's not like some bullshit or anything. I mean, this is rubbish or anything. That's Twitter, and that's a hashtag that we follow for Killer Instinct. So please feel free to send me any more musical stuff, yeah. Dude down here. You gonna play guitar on the thing for me? Yeah!
Now I've got a question regarding another music track from one of the older ones.
Yeah.
If there was a bit, a chance to bring it back, would you like to do Humiliation?
Have you seen that awesome footage on YouTube from 1994 and 1995 of like at E3 when they originally announced Killer Instinct?
Yeah.
And they've got all your 90s dancers. And but the coolest thing about that is all the characters from the game on the big TV screens in the background. They're like doing this and things. It's hilarious. Okay. Here's some special news just for you that hasn't been talked about at all. Every single original character's theme is going to make a reappearance in Killer Instinct 3. That's awesome. However, they remain hidden. It is up to the player to find them. Do you want to know how to find them? This is the takeaway. In order to find the hidden music tracks, you must fight against your instincts. Next question. Yeah, dude. Good question.
Cool. So, of all of the characters, like maybe bar the ones that haven't been announced and you can't talk about, which is your favorite character's theme and why? And of all of the characters, who would you want to be because of that theme song? As in like, if you could be that character to have that theme song in life.
Wow.
Just walking down the street.
Yeah. I know, I always loved Cinder because it was like crazily overpowered. And that's sort of, his music, that the big 6/8 metal thing, oh man, this is awesome.
This is why you work on the show?
Yeah. No, that's why Wolfenstein. But you listen to that track now, it still sounds awesome. I think the theme and is awesome, but I think the character selects screen music is the most badass piece of music that's ever been written for a video game. It's like just awesome, makes you want to fight, right? I don't know, who would I want to be? I don't know, as a kid, I mean, everybody, I don't know, man, that's a good one. Jago, things, Riptor, I don't know. It's a good question, very good question. It's tough to answer. Who would you be?
I honestly like the crazy theme that you just showed before for the... Fuck, what's his name?
Saberwolf.
Saberwolf.
Yeah, that was fun.
That's because it's psychotic. It's awesome. Yeah.
Thanks, man. Really good question. All right, let's. What else have we got? Let's head over this side. You up there? You're reaching up very short in the middle here. You got a dude with the long hair. We'll do both of you two because you're next to each other. How's that? One after another. Fight. Don't fight.
Will there be an in-game tutorial for each character on how to use them?
Yeah, absolutely.
And will there be special story modes for each character?
Yeah, the story modes and things I can't talk about. That's just unfortunate. I wish I could really talk about that sort of stuff, but unfortunately I can't. Don't expect it's going to be a Mortal Kombat thing. It's not going to be that sort of type of thing, but yeah, I mean, there has to be motivations. If we're going to use fighting as a mechanic and a reason to play the game, you need a reason why to fight. So there obviously would be some story to do that, right? And yes, there's a 40-step tutorial for every single character. So you can learn, and right up to like ultras. I mean, everything all from the autos to the doubles to the linkers to the combo breakers. The new thing, the counter breaker, have you heard that one? Yeah. So we've got combo breakers, which are a staple of the series, right? But the combo breakers now, you have to line up the strength of the move that you're trying to break. So if the person is doing a combo against you using medium attacks, you've got to do a medium attack combo breaker, right? However, that other person can also fake doing a medium. And if at that moment you go into a medium breaker, you get the counter breaker. So it's like you can trick so you don't get so easy combo breakers and things. So yeah, there's lots of cool stuff, yeah. Good question, dude.
You mentioned that you don't like working in the box as such, you like to get all your audio samples. I was wondering, what audio sample did you have to go to the greatest lengths to get? What was the most painful one for you to record?
Learning how to do that throat singing destroyed my voice. It really did. I couldn't speak for about 4 days. Because at first I was just, and it just wouldn't work, right? So yeah, that was pretty painful. I don't know, man, working in game development, as anybody will tell you, is the best part about the job is getting the job, finishing the job. But in between, it's just, it's pretty trying, yeah. So, I don't know, really good question. I'll probably have to get back to you on that one, man. Shoot me an email or something, yeah. I'll go through my stuff, send you some samples and things. It's pretty cool, yeah. Yeah, the guy at the back there who's had his hand up like super straight. It's like, yes! To infinity and beyond.
My question was from one music composer to another. What set you off? What?
I just make noises.
I find that there's always one point where you'll hear a sound or a piece of music and you'll think that's what I want to do with my life. That's it. And for me, that was the music from Metal Gear Solid 3.
Yeah. Yeah.
What was it for you?
Oh man, good question. Hey, probably those rare games, dude. Honestly, if I'm completely honest, it was those rare games.
The old 90s ones.
Yeah, the 90s ones, man. Burn, dude, burn. No, definitely, yeah. So Donkey Kong Country, that first level. How many times did you play that first level just to find all the secrets in that level, and then still never find them all? It's amazing.
Countless has a nice ring to it.
Yeah, absolutely. So that music that sits in there becomes engraved. But my favorite piece of music from that game is the bonus level music. You know what I had that for my ringtone for like years and years and years. It's great, you know. I loved Killer Instinct so much. When I started, I was dating a girl back in high school, and I brought her around to my house, and in a real suave mood, I said, have a listen to this Killer Cut CD. and I played like tracks of Killer Cuts, and I was like, yeah, this is like Cinder shoots the flames, and this robot dude, and all this sort of stuff. And yeah, so, I mean, you know, that stuff was great. To freak out, obviously, everything I do on this project goes through Robin Beanland, the original composer. And absolutely everything I do. As a fan, I would not accept anything less. I would not accept anything less. And you know, this talk has all been quite quick as like, yeah, I did this first and it was awesome. But no. That theme took 20 versions, 6 months. It was just hell to try and get to that even. So, I mean, there's a lot of work that goes into it. Speaking to Robin is just, it freaks me out every day. It really does. And he's such a cool guy. He's like really chilled out. He's got like red hair and stuff, but he's chilled out and stuff. And no, he's really cool. And I gave him this gift with the string recorders in Manchester. I recorded special versions of all of his original music from Killer Instinct and gave it to him just as a gift. Not for public release, just to say thank you. So, yeah, really good question, man. Sorry, I'm going to keep moving. All right, who's close to you there, man? Yeah, dude in the white jumper right in front of you.
You did, with the music from Killer Instinct in the arcade, obviously that music was designed to, you know, attract players, you know, because everyone's, you know, feed me coins and all that. So obviously now it's gone to consoles, it's all about consoles. So what were challenges or what direction different than the arcade version, musically wise, has the Killer Instinct 3?
Yeah, good question. The difference to me with console games that are made now versus arcade games in the good old days or whatever, is just the money. You don't have to put $1 in now. The approach is the same. We have the main menu, we have the start of the game, and all this sort of thing. You still have your gamer tags. I mean, things have really evolved from that sort of play. So probably taking things. I mean, the original game had adaptive music in a sense that when you got into the danger area of low health, the music would change, and then there was an ending. So you get like the really tense thing that when you're about to, you know, maybe be killed, and then when you died, you had the ending. So the logical step was to grow that. And Ken Lobb, who's the creative director on Killer Instinct 3, who was the original designer on the first Killer Instinct, once said to me, Killer Instinct is like the controller is a musical instrument. Now what he meant by that is that it should be a game that people practice like a musical instrument to learn all the combos. Because I didn't understand that, I thought he meant, he wants like the player to actually perform the music, so things like that. So yeah, does that answer your question at all? Yeah, that's all. Thank you, man. All right, who else have we got? We've probably got 2-3 more questions or so. We'll go 3 more. Yeah, whoever's here. Sorry, I got lights on my console.
I was just wondering, you're sort of in like a very unique position where you're sort of tasked with reviving like a really dormant franchise. Are there any specific challenges with that as opposed to like say new IP or doing something that you've worked on before or that isn't as like dormant as killers?
Yeah, good question. It's very fan intensive. Fans are really, really fascinating and interesting. Essentially, we have all had 17 years to design the perfect Killer Instinct sequel in our own minds. And it's very difficult to accept anything else. It's the same as a Transformers movie from Michael Bay. I was sitting there going, where's the 80s book, dude? Like, you know, and that sort of thing, right? So it's always got to be different. Killer Instinct, when taking it on, is a double-edged sword. On one hand, you're like, yes, this is absolutely awesome. But then you've got to somehow bring that into the new age. Now, how do you do that? You approach it by looking at the original as it could have been better. Now, that's really difficult to say. But what I mean is that if that Killer Instinct game as it exists came out today, it wouldn't do us so well because it's up against so many other big budget titles and things as such. So there's certain considerations we have to make, such as cultural respectiveness, sexual respectiveness and things regarding female characters is very important. The direction of the music and things needs to tell the story of the character, not just be a cool song and things. It needs to be legitimate in a way. So there's those considerations that we have here. Good question, really good one. Yeah, who we got? Who's around here? Do with a hat on. Hey, mate.
Hey, obviously you know all the characters for the game, obviously haven't made the music. Is there any that you're really itching to get out there that you can't talk about yet? Because, well, the
irony of your question.
Yeah,
no, I mean, really good.
Obviously the 4 you've already released.
Okay, well, let's look at it this way, right? The Killer Instinct. You can guess certain characters that are going to be back, right? Yeah. I cannot say. The reason I say this is it's not just like a PR exercise. My position on the game is that of making music, and that's my position as it is. That position comes under threat if I start dipping into PR and then dipping into marketing and things like that. If I start leaking details, what happens is Microsoft's stock goes up based on what I can say to you here today. Now, if I say something that gets misinterpreted and their stock goes up, and then that turns out to be a lie, I'm in a very awkward position. So, respectively, I can't say anything. I'm terribly sorry. But it being a Killer Instinct game, you can imagine the type of characters. My favorites were Full Gore and Spinal and Orchid and those characters. So, if it's a Killer Instinct game, you would kind of assume that, you know, that sort of thing would happen, right? So, that's all I can say. I'm sorry, dude. Speculatively. Yes, we've probably got time for 2 quick ones. We'll do 2 quick ones. Right behind you there, man.
It's sort of leading on from the other couple of questions is knowing how high the bar's been for the original game. How do you sleep at night, basically?
With regards to stress.
How high the bar's gone? You know, how do you sleep at night? How do you know such a go so high for this?
Yeah, no, really good question. I don't really sleep much at all. I was up till 4 in the morning on this and another project and things, and then it's up a few hours later to come here and all those sort of things. So I don't sleep much anyway. But relaxation is very important. If you look at yourself as a being who is creative, right? So whatever you do it creatively, you do it passionately. In order to put that energy into it, you also need some sense of downtime to recuperate those efforts. I mean, what do you do, man? I'm sure, like, what do you do on the weekends and stuff?
Oh, I play computer games, obviously.
Yeah, exactly, yeah. Dude, if I have a 2-week deadline, I will play video games for about 10 days. Probably 13 days. And then stay up 24 hours and then finish it. You know, yeah, exactly, man, yeah. It's super stressful. But you can't let that get to you either. Otherwise, it's too much, right? Last special question. Dude with a bottle has been like really standing out, so let's do that one. Thank you so much. I'm so sorry, guys, we couldn't get to everybody.
Bit of extra length never hurts. I have 2 short questions, is that alright?
Yeah, man, go for it, yeah.
First, you mentioned earlier that the way the Ultra combos work now, they have a theme based on the character of the level.
Yep.
I thought that was really interesting, and I was just wondering if you could elaborate on how that works a little bit more.
Oh, so technically?
Oh, yeah, like how the sound is going to work with the different levels of characters.
Okay, I can give you a really quick rundown. You said you had a second question. What's your second question?
Hypothetically, let's assume that perhaps perhaps maybe Orchid is in the game, how would one go about, like how would you have designed the music for her? Because I personally didn't, it certainly wasn't my favourite theme from the original game.
Why wasn't your favourite theme from the original game?
It just seemed a little bit too tacky.
Yeah, why was it tacky?
Just it almost seemed like a diva-y pop kind of thing, which sort of suited her character, but I didn't think it suited the game.
Gameplay, right? So what would you have done in return instead? What would you have done?
I would have had it. I would have kept with the sort of style of Orchid, but perhaps maybe a little bit faster, a little bit more badass, maybe just the.
I can't say anything, but you've probably answered your own question. Secondly, this isn't my pen, and I just put it in my mouth. To your first question. So the ultras work. Okay, very, very quickly. Each stage, we have X amount of unannounced stages, right? Every single stage has 50 individual hits, which drives me crazy. 50 individual hits. These individual, so what I mean is a hit is like, boom, that's it. Bum, 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 bum. Just a whole bunch of those 50 that start really, really low and then end up really, really high, right? Those 50 are broken down into 5 different groups of 10. And then the designers choose a melody out of those 50 hits that they like. It gradually goes up with the Ultra. But that being said, halfway through the Ultra, you can stop with the instinct mode, which is some other thing, and then do some more moves and then come back in. So you can get like 100 plus Ultras. It's pretty insane. So that's it there. Now, each level has 50 hits, so the melody is the same on every single level, but the sounds change, which is basically how we've approached that. Is that what you asked? Is that the question?
Yeah.
Yep, that's it. Cool. Awesome, guys. Lastly, we have 2 t-shirts to give out to the best questions. Who do we have as best questions?
Who asked that dormant IP question versus new franchise? This goes out to you. That was excellent. Oh, wow. Some of those. And also, I would say that you had a good question, but you did an excellent job on the mic redoing the And all the other questions as well, because they were honestly quite good. So good job.
So lastly, guys, thank you so much for coming to this session. It was wonderful to speak to you all at PAX Australia. This is absolutely brilliant. Please feel free to email me or text any of those sort of things. Thank you again. Have a good evening.